everything has a Y. That little padlock in your browser is hiding a secret right now. And somewhere, a brand new kind of computer is being built to pick it open. Now, the obvious fear is that this machine will crack every code by trying every password at once. That is wrong. And the real story is stranger, and much more specific. To see why, start with a surprise. The internet does not use one lock. It quietly runs two different locks at the same time. The first lock is the fast one. It is called a symmetric cipher, and the everyday workhorse is named AES. It uses one shared secret key to scramble the bulk of your data. But that fast lock has a catch. Both people must already share the same key. So how do two total strangers agree on a secret key over a wire that someone might be listening to? That is the job of the second lock. It is called public key crypto, and it comes in a few famous flavors named RSA, Diffie-Hellman, and elliptic-curve. Here is the clever part. Everyone gets a public key they can hand out to anyone, and a private key they keep hidden. Anyone can lock the box, but only the private key can open it. So now you can see the division of labor. The public key lock runs the opening handshake that builds trust. Then the fast symmetric lock takes over and carries everything you actually send. Now, why is that public key lock the soft spot? Because it is built on a beautiful trick called a trapdoor. Easy to fall through one way, almost impossible to climb back the other. Picture the trapdoor as multiplication. Take two huge prime numbers and multiply them together. A computer does that in a flicker, faster than a blink, but now try to go backwards. Take that giant number and figure out which two primes built it. That is called factoring, and it is brutally, almost impossibly hard. How hard? The biggest such number anyone has ever cracked took roughly 2,700 years of computer time. And it was smaller than the one guarding your bank. Diffie-Hellman and elliptic-curve lean on a cousin of that puzzle, called the discrete logarithm. Same flavour of trick. Easy one way, believed hopeless the other. But here is the unsettling truth at the bottom of it all. Nobody has ever proven these puzzles are actually hard. We only believe it. The whole internet rests on an assumption. So what is the machine that runs this trapdoor backwards? To understand it, forget the myths and meet its building block, a qubit. A qubit is not a bit holding all values at once. Picture a globe with a single arrow on it. A normal bit points straight up or straight down. A qubit can point anywhere in between. That in-between pointing is called superposition. But here is the catch everyone forgets. The moment you measure it, the arrow snaps to a single answer. Just one. And without a clever trick, that single answer is just a random guess. No better than rolling dice. So where does the real power actually come from? The power comes from interference. Quantum amplitudes can be negative, like the troughs of a wave. Line up wrong answers, and their crests cancel, while the right answer's waves stack up tall. Now we can meet the algorithm itself. In 1994, a mathematician named Peter Shor found a way to aim that interference straight at the trapdoor. And the first thing to know is what Shor does not do. It does not try every key. It does not search the giant pile of possibilities. That picture is simply wrong. Instead, a clever classical step rewrites the factoring puzzle as a search for a hidden rhythm. A repeating beat buried inside the math, called the period. To find that rhythm, the quantum computer uses a tool called the quantum Fourier transform. It makes all the wrong rhythms cancel out, until only the true period rings clear. And from that one rhythm, a little ordinary arithmetic hands you the two secret primes. The trapdoor has been run backwards. Structure, not searching, did the work. Now comes the consequence. Because both factoring and the discrete logarithm fall to this same trick, one machine breaks all of them at once. And remember what those locks were doing. They ran the handshake. So this is the real catastrophe. Not your scrambled data, but the moment of trust that starts every connection. So does that mean every lock falls? No. And this is where people get the story badly wrong. The fast symmetric lock is barely scratched. Against that lock, quantum computers only have a weaker tool called Grover's algorithm from 1996. And it gives just a square root speed up, not a magic shortcut. In practice, that just halves the strength of a key. So, a strong key called AES 256 still keeps about 128 bits of power. Still rock solid. Even better, Grover refuses to be split across many machines. Run it on 1,000 computers and you barely speed it up. Experts say it offers little real advantage for decades. So that is the threat, sharp and specific. But now for the giant reality check. How close is the machine that breaks the handshake? Not close at all. No quantum computer has ever broken real RSA. Not one. The number that protects your bank has never been cracked by one of these machines. The best recipe today estimates you would need under 1 million noisy qubits, running for under a week just to crack one bank-grade key. And that recipe is already a huge improvement. Just a few years ago, the same task needed about 20 million qubits running for 8 hours. Now here is the kicker. Today's very best machines have only about 100 to 1,000 real qubits, and just a handful of reliable ones. That is about 1,000 times too small. A machine that can actually break today's encryption simply does not exist yet. Not even close. So you might think, no machine, no problem. Relax. But this is exactly where the story turns chilling. Because the attack has already begun. It is called harvest now. Decrypt later. Spies record your encrypted traffic today, even though they cannot read a single word of it yet. Then they simply wait. They store those scrambled secrets cheaply, for years, planning to unlock them all the day the machine finally exists. There is even a simple formula for whether you should worry. A researcher named Michelle Mosca wrote it down. Add up 2 times and compare to a third. If your secret must stay private for many years, and upgrading your locks also takes years, you may already be on the wrong side of the line. That is why governments are racing toward 2035. So when exactly will this machine arrive? Here is the honest answer that most stories skip. Nobody knows. Truly nobody. Surveyed experts give only about a 1 in 10 chance of a code-breaking machine within 5 years, and only about a 1 in 4 chance within 10. And here is the strange part. The believers and the skeptics both point at the very same data. Some say imminent, some say decades off, or maybe never. What everyone agrees on is this. The recipe to build the machine keeps getting cheaper and smaller, even though the machine itself still does not exist. So if the threat is real but slow, what do we actually do? We change the locks. And the good news is, the new locks already exist. These new locks are called post-quantum cryptography. And here is the twist. They are not quantum gadgets at all. They are just new math, running on ordinary computers. Their secret is a different kind of hard puzzle. Some are built on grids of points called lattices, others on tangled codes and one-way hashes. Puzzles that are tough for quantum computers too. And these are not a wish list. In 2024, the US standards body NIST officially blessed the first batch of them. Real, finished, approved locks. And they are already in your pocket. Apple's iMessage, Signal, and Chrome have quietly switched them on. Over half of the human traffic at one major network is already post-quantum. And they ship them in a clever, careful way. Side by side with the old lock. So to break in, an attacker now has to defeat both the old math and the new at the same time. So here is the answer. Quantum computers will not break all encryption. They run the trapdoor backwards to break the public key handshake. But your fast everyday lock survives. The new post-quantum locks survive. And those new locks are already being swapped into your phone. The lock on your bank is changing right now. But the race was never against the machine that doesn't exist yet. It's against the spy quietly filling a vault with your secrets today. Like and subscribe for more.